And here we are on Entombed Valley, and in the upper left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Terran player. I switched colors on me. It is Liquid TaeJa.
Life's hard.
He is down 0-1 to his opponent in the lower left-hand corner. From the team Prime, it is Creator.
Yep, now Creator looking pretty dominant in game one with that 7-gate, but you know what, Creator.Prime, really his thing is going to the late game, right? But I think in that first game he's just kind of showing TaeJa, he's like, all right, I'm not going to just play my standard game against you. Look out, there's a long best of series, you don't know what to expect. You know, that first game was a statement by Creator.Prime.
Yeah. And they're playing a version of Entombed that actually doesn't have forced cross-spawns. So, as we can see, we're spawning along the left-hand side of the map. We'll see if that comes into play. It does cut down that fly distance quite a bit if you decide to go into aggressive drops, something that TaeJa is wont to do occasionally. So, we'll see what both these players have up their sleeves. For now, though, it is going to be a barracks first out of TaeJa, not taking that risk and going for command center first this go-around.
Yeah, I mean, so many Terran players are going for that really fast third command center lately in TVP, and you know, in TVZ too to a certain extent, and it's good, but it does leave you open to certain timings, and more we see players taking advantage of that, and Terrans not being able to get away with that really fast third command center. Now, while I think TaeJa's loss last game wasn't necessarily because of the command center, it is something that players are starting to punish more. So as a Terran player, TaeJa's going to need to think very carefully before he tries to do something like that again.
And TaeJa is going to go down a 1-Rax gasless fast expand round, as we can see, building up to those 400 resources now. Creator going to poke around, be annoying with the probe once again. He himself is not setting up for anything out of the ordinary. This is exactly what we saw in game number 1. And it looks like he is going to put down a cybernetics core. This is actually in contrast to the last game when he saw command center first. He actually went for that nexus before cybernetics core because he knew he wouldn't need warp gate research right away. And this go around, though, he does want to make sure that he has that just in case he takes a little bit of pressure at the beginning.
Oh yeah, definitely. You don't want to die to anything too early, too humiliatingly, for sure.
That's true.
You know, this is actually, I'm so excited about this match, honestly. These two players, while they've never met before, like we said earlier, have been so close in terms of results, right? I mean, they both kind of flirted with Code S and things like that, but so I feel like their own personal careers, while Creator.Prime may be a little bit ahead in that regard, I feel they're very similar. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to match up. In fact, IPL4 was actually both of these guys' first offline event. First IPL offline event, that is. And Creator, of course, did perform slightly better there. He actually finished the 9th to 12th place.
That's right.
I don't know why that's so hard to say. Place. And TaeJa finished 21st to 24th. So a little bit behind, but still fairly similar.
But
overall.
both these guys came out of that bracket to actually make it into pool stage, you know.
That's very true,
very solid players themselves. So now, though, it looks like TaeJa is going to go for a little bit more conventional build. 3 racks after a gasless fast expand. Probably will double gas here momentarily unless he wants to put down yet another super fast third command center, which it looks like, man, he just likes his gasless variants. He's going to be very quickly up to 400 resources one more time if he wants to go down that route, and we'll certainly see what he chooses in a bit. For now, though, on Creator's side, gateways number 2 and 3 popping up at the 31 supply mark, so he's feeling pretty safe. Those would have come a little bit earlier if he was worried about any sort of super early pressure around 26, 27 supply, something like that. And indeed, it is a gasless third command center once again out of TaeJa.
Same build almost.
This time with just 1 additional barracks and a couple extra Marines.
Okay, so he's going to go for, like you mentioned, just a little bit safer version of what he did last time. And interestingly enough, a 4th gateway going up for Creator. So yeah, he's going to put a little bit of pressure on his opponent. I was about to talk a little bit about how we used to see a lot of Protoss players go 1 gate expand and then robo, then their second and third gates, whereas lately it's been a lot of 1 gate expand, 2nd and 3rd gate, and then robo, and then into double forge, just because it seems like overall TVP has gotten a little bit more volatile in the early game, so players haven't been going for quite as early of a robo, you know, unless they see something like gas and their opponent walls off on the Terran side, and, you know, they want to know if it's a 1-1-1 or something. But so that's kind of interesting, but Creator.Prime taking it one step further. Oh, and the scan. I'm pretty sure that's all 4 command centers. Yep, he saw them all.
Yes, sees all 4 warp gates there, one back behind the mineral line as well. So the jig is up to a degree, as we do see a forward pylon down and a few units being warped up at the front, and TaeJa already reacting with a third third bunker once again. So he's starting to invest into his upgrades. There we go, Stim coming up now, and actually going for the same order of things that he did last go around after the 3 command centers and 3 racks were down. He wants to make sure that he gets up that engineering bay before factory tech, so we can start that +1 nice and early on.
Oh yeah, I mean, and a lot of timings revolve around +1 and Stim being done roughly about the same time, but first he's going to need to defend against this push. I think he's going to be just fine, though. 3 barracks on the high ground. He's got SCVs in position for all of them, 2 SCV per bunker. And yep, Prime, Creator.Prime. I don't know why I keep calling him Prime. Creator.Prime, not even going to really bother with it.
Yep. So let's see here now, as 3 bunkers sitting up there. TaeJa's already got SCVs pulled off the line to go ahead and prepare for that. With mules, he's actually not sacrificing all that much in terms of economy. He's only down 2 workers to his opponent. Has 3 mules down, as you can see, even with the workers pulled off the line, roughly equivalent in all of his mining. So not really taking that big of an economic hit, making sure he stays extremely safe. Back on Creator's side of things, robotic facility is about halfway finished up, and he's adding on gases number 3 and 4 at the moment. But TaeJa doing a really nice job of just continuing to power ahead, going for double reactors and just going to pump out an immense amount of Marines very early on. Yeah,
Creator.Prime's going to need to be careful about that. The reason he's kind of sitting out there, I think, right now is to watch for pushes, of course, but then also maybe try to find an opportunity where he can deny a 3rd base. That's also something you see a lot of Protoss players staying on the Terran side of the map to do. But it looks like he is just going to go home now. He's going to be content with that. He's got his first Forge and his Twilight Council on the way as well, so he'll be able to get Blink to help defend against some of that early play. Oh, actually turning around again. Wants to try to keep that pylon alive. He's like, no. Wow, 2 force fields. He really wants that pylon alive.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, it looks like he was going back home, but he doesn't want TaeJa to think he's going back home right now. So that we, of course, know that he is. Blink and +1 weapons coming up now for Creator. Missile turret up in front just to make sure that DTs aren't going to die.
Those 2 force fields are just perfect as well. I mean, just the spacing of those and not letting the Marauder run back through.
Yeah.
Some nice force fielding, even if it wasn't terribly necessary. It was still very cool to see.
This kid, man, good control out of him, gotta say.
You want to know something funny, though?
What's that?
His name right now, hover over one of his units there for a second. That's Aepinku, which is A-Pink, a very famous Korean K-pop band.
Oh.
So he's named, I think our little Creator.Prime has got a bit of a crush on A-Pink.
That's so cute.
They are quite talented, though. I'm not going to lie. A-Pink, definitely one of my favorite K-pop bands as well.
Oh, with that Observer, unfortunately, floating just a little bit too close to the missile turret. Pops up in range of the Marines, and they are able to pick it off. A lot of DPS sitting in that army right there, as we talked about the amount of Marines that he would be able to produce.
It's a bit scary.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, finally, 2 more Tech Lab barracks up. TaeJa is supply blocked a wee bit. We'll need to go ahead and free that up, as he has 2 supply depots on the way. 3 more barracks already being added. The coolest thing I've seen about TaeJa so far is that he invests into his infrastructure so effectively.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's one of those Terran players, you know, not unlike Prime, actually not unlike Flash we've seen do lately, where he just likes to get a lot of barracks very quickly, always have a big, robust army. And Terran players have been learning, too, that, yeah, even though Marines are kind of not the best thing against Colossi, there's still such high DPS that a lot of Terran players have been favoring a larger Marine composition than in previous kind of years with StarCraft 2 and months, I guess. We used to see, for instance, the first 3 barracks with Terran, 2 Tech Lab, 1 reactor. Now it's always 2 reactors, 1 Tech Lab, because Marines have just become, you know, that much more value to the Terran players, right? They're learning how to control better, they're learning how to set up engagements better, so they don't necessarily need that big Marauder heavy composition to just stay alive longer.
And TaeJa, now with a couple of medevacs out on the field, can turn and engage on these Stalkers if he wants. Blink is finished, though, so they can get out of there pretty easily. But Creator is doing such a good job, not losing that much more than just shields, picking off a couple of bio units. Oh, well, there he's got to be careful now. Backs away after losing 1 Stalker, but still picking off a few units without taking that much losses. Oh, and though the pathing leads him around, he does blink out of there, though. Now there's quite a few units on the high ground. Charges on the way, but not quite finished up, and we do have our first Colossus just about to pop out.
Oh, I like what TaeJa's doing here, shooting from the low ground, very nice. Oh, the force field's trapping a lot of Marines, but mostly Zealots there, so it's not going to help him. Look at this, a really odd engagement by Creator.Prime, very awkward angle for everything in TaeJa. Oh, he picks off a Colossus, great use of that.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to lose his army, but, you know, he did a little bit of damage, kept the supply a little bit even, and he's going to get a good scout of the main base as well, probably pick off a few probes too.
That's right. So this actually ended up not working out all that badly for TaeJa. He was able to pick off those zealots on the high ground that were a little bit confused.
Yeah.
It was like, there's units down there. I'm looking at them.
It's a very awkward engagement.
I can't hit them, though. We do have range about halfway finished now for those Colossi that are popping out. Templar Archives coming up as well as Creator continues to reinvest back into his upgrades, but just off of a single forge for now. And as soon as I say that, a second one is put down.
Yeah, usually you do see that go down around the time the first big tech switch happens in a PvT. But that's kind of cool. I mean, he's continuing to make Colossi. Actually, he just canceled that Colossus right now. He's going to worry about just Templar at the moment because he knows there's more aggression coming. If you can warp in Templar, make some Archons, that might work a little bit better. We'll see. It's going to be very, very tight right now. It's going to be awkward. He's starting Storm right away, but that's not going to be done anywhere near in time to help with this push.
No, and TaeJa is really just powering ahead because he invested into his infrastructure so early on. We can see even taking big losses in that last engagement, his supply is still so high.
Yeah.
This is a bit reminding me of even Flash from that Kespa Invitational over the weekend. That's kind of a similar style of play to him.
Well,
we'll see if his control is going to be the same as well. TaeJa's really got to watch out as a couple of units going down up the front. He's really microed well around the force fields, picks off the Colossus, and then gets out of there as well. Just a couple of Archons left. We'll see if he's able to deal with them, swinging with some units around the side as well. And indeed, he will be able to dispatch of those Archons. Wow!
I think
incredibly well done.
I think we're going to see TaeJa take game 2, man. I mean, he has got such a great lead right now with his army. Great positioning, great micro. Really playing in the style that a lot of Terran players have been adopting. Not going for such early ghosts, going for just a huge, huge composition of bio. And at the end of the day, yeah, he's getting pushed back a little bit now, but I don't know for how long because that army is so strong and continues to grow. GG!
GG!